Have you ever wondered how to maintain breastfeeding for 6 months while juggling a full-time job? The challenges that come with it are no joke. So hi, I'm Bridget, a working mother, and welcome to my spot where we talk everything motherhood, marriage, parenting, and all-around lifestyle. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you practical tips and personal experiences and on how I managed to navigate through the challenges that come with balancing a 9 to 5 job or whatever kind of job that you have, but also being able to breastfeed your child for 6 months. As we know that we are advised that at least babies should feed on breast milk for the first 6 months of their life. And sometimes because you are a working mother, it actually seems as if it is impossible. But actually, if I did it, you can do it. It is very possible, and I'm going to be showing you how. So whether you are already preparing to return back to work or you're already at work but currently navigating this journey, I am showing you how. So tip number 1, plan ahead of time before your maternity leave ends. How is this done? Ensure that you buy a very good breast pump. It could be electric or manual breast pump, and start building a stash of milk early enough. You don't need to do it immediately after delivery, but if you have a month or like 4 to 6 weeks to returning back to work, you could start preparing or building your stash of breast milk. So invest more time in researching a very good pump for yourself, because you will need one that fits you well and one that will not hurt you or make you lose interest in pumping breast milk. So what I did in regards to planning ahead before my maternity leave ends, I had 3 months of maternity. That means that in the 4th month, I had to go back to work. So what I did, I had to get a breast pump. I got an electric duo breast pump. It's an intelligent breast pump. There is the link to show you how to use it. So I got it, and then I had to buy packs. I had to buy bottles. I had to buy everything that I needed. And then what I did is I started pumping 6 weeks to the end of my maternity leave. So I ensured that I had to note down the date on when I started pumping, and then I would store my breast milk in the freezer. So it's very important that you have stable power, because if power is on and off, it could affect milk and it could get spoiled. So ensure that you have stable power and a very clean environment, very clean things that you're using. So that's what I did. So by the time I went back to work, for the first 2 months, my baby was actually feeding on the breast milk I pumped before I resumed with work. With this, some people incorporate in formula and as they breastfeed, but from my experience, my baby could not take formula, so I had to figure out ways of how to keep feeding him on breast milk for those 6 months, however much I went overboard. Actually, I think I pumped for 9 months until I had to stop around, I think, the 9th month. But regardless, I managed to go through the 6 months of him feeding only on breast milk, so I planned beforehand. Point number 2, create a very good pumping schedule while still at home. It might get harder if you want to incorporate the pumping schedule when you're already working. So try as much as possible to do it while still at home. You could do morning, afternoon and evening, or in the night, depending on what you would want. So as for me, what I did, I would pump in the morning, store that milk, and then pump again during the day, for example, around midday or 1 p.m., and then pump again in the evening. So that made my body also used to that. So as you're doing that, you are incorporating in the time the baby feeds and the time you are pumping breast milk. This means that when you resume with work, ensure that you don't break that pattern that you've been doing. You could actually add in more times or just keep the pattern depending on how much you want to pump for your baby. So what I did when I resumed with work, I continued. I would do early morning before I leave home, and then around 12 p.m. and then around 4 or 5 p.m. and then at 8 p.m. And then with time, like I share in this video that I have attached on how I started to stop pumping when I felt like now my baby is mature enough, he's now old enough, he can't stand on other drinks like porridges, other types of milk, food, juice, and every other thing. So when I felt like he was ready, I started reducing the number of times I used to pump breast milk. But for the start, since I wanted him to feed on breast milk for the first 6 months, I had to pump as much as possible. And also with that, I had a lot of milk supply, so I didn't want to go through that pain of keeping it for long. So that's why I ended up pumping for 3 to 4 times, but you could do 2 to 3 times in a day. This is why I encourage you to keep consistent with your pumping schedule. Point number 3, introduce bottle feeding early enough. So because you know that you're a working mother, you're not going to be with your baby every time, except for those who are able to have their babies at work. That case is different if you're not going to be with a baby the whole day. So from my experience, I had to introduce bottle feeding when he was, I think I delayed when he was 2 months, and it was a hassle. It wasn't a good experience at all because we had fights. He would throw himself, he refused it, he would fight, he didn't want it, he refused to drink. I just kept on trying and trying until he learned how to drink through the bottle. Why you have to do it early enough is because your baby is so used to breastfeeding direct from you, and a bottle is something foreign, is something different, especially if they were not doing it at the start or when they were born. So in bringing it in is something different. Some easily accept, but others, it needs training. So I would advise you to train them as early as possible. Let them breastfeed, but also let them bottle feed. Point number 4, find a very comfortable space to pump. This is very important. However much it sounds easy and simple, but sometimes you find some work environment are not favorable for mothers to pump. And this is why I urge you to speak early enough to your employer, kindly request them that you will be pumping at work, such that they allow you that privacy. Or if your workplace has a nursing room, better if someone can give you an office whereby you're able to lock yourself in and pump, because you need that comfortable environment to be as if you're with your child, but this is a machine. But at the end of the day, what you're getting is breast milk to feed your baby. Tip number 5, storing milk at work. It's very important that you have the things that you need to store breast milk at work. You could buy a cooler bag, ice packs, such that every milk you pump you store, because if you're not storing milk very well, it could get spoiled before you return home. Go tip number 6, carry all the essentials needed every day. The essentials needed are a breast pump, a nursing bra or a hand-free bra, storage bags, cooler bags, ice packs, sanitizers, wipes, those essentials that you need during the process of pumping breast milk. Because if you miss out on having a breast pump, it could be really hard, because you have to bear the pain of failed breasts, and you wouldn't want to go through that when you are at work, because it could lead to leaking and then you become uncomfortable. So prepare, like every time you head back home in the evening, clean your things very well. In the morning, pack everything that you need very well. So what I did is I had an extra breast pump. It was a manual breast pump, so I would keep it at work. But in most cases, I always used an electric breast pump. Why I had a manual breast pump at work is because just in case I don't remember to carry my electric breast pump, I could have one at work to incorporate, or to help me relieve myself from, all the breast milk and every other thing. So whether you want to have two or you have one, just make sure that on a daily basis you carry all the essentials needed to have a smooth process of pumping, but also juggling with breastfeeding at home. Practical tip number 7, prepare yourself in a way that you're able to deal with challenges. The challenges that come with work, the challenges that come with home. with whom I mean like with breastfeeding, the challenges that come with pumping breast milk. And then lastly, ensure that you have a very good support system. This could come from your husband, your friend, your workmates, your fellow moms. You could have a support group of moms whereby you are encouraged and seek advice, or you could consult those who have gone ahead of you on how they have balanced pumping and breastfeeding, because it's actually very possible. At the start, it looked like it was impossible. It looked like it was hard for me. I didn't know how to do that, but I had to go in, do and follow all the steps that I've shared with you, and then everything turned out to be okay. And also, I urge you that on top of all this, ensure that you're drinking enough. Eat foods that help you with production of breast milk. Don't starve yourself when you resume with work. You need that milk. And also, don't give up on breastfeeding. The more you breastfeed also, the more milk is produced. The more you pump, the more milk is produced. So it's very important that you don't give up on those things. Exercise if you can. And then finally, I urge you to pray over your body and pray over your child. So as I conclude this video, I hope you have picked some tips that are going to really help you, because all this was helpful. I went through it, I did it, and if I was able to do it, I'm very sure you can do it. It takes commitment, consistency, patience, time. Yeah, you need to put in your time, because the time you put in pumping, the time you put in breastfeeding, but in the end it all pays off, because your baby is healthy because they're feeding on what actually they have to feed on as babies between the time of 0 months to 6 months. So we have come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for staying and watching until the end. So if you haven't given it a thumbs up, please give it a thumbs up, comment on this video, and also share with someone that you feel this might be helpful. And also, if you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by. If you're returning, thank you so much for returning. Thank you so much for showing me all the love, and thank you so much for supporting me as I support you. Otherwise, have yourself a good time, and the Lord bless you. Ciao.